Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, we got a gem of a show, as always. Stole stains, heart pain, and a man walking with a cane. I want my ex back, just not as a girlfriend. You ever thought about that before? I've been in this situation a couple times where you think you want your ex back, but you really just want them back as part-time, not full-time. Because if you think about it, you broke up for a reason. There's some problems there. There's some wreckage on the road. There's some feelings hurt. And even if they want you back, it's not going to be easy. And if it is too easy, it'll probably be easy to break up again. So even if everything's lined up, it's still going to be a long road back. And a lot of times, if you broke up with them, they want you to pay. They want you to crawl through dog shit to get to them. And I've been on the other end of different breakups here. Eduardo Martinez, welcome. I've been on both sides of breakups, and I've talked to a lot of people over the years and their breakup situations, and people are playing poker games. They're always playing poker. And you think, oh, why can't people be more honest? Why can't people be upfront with their feelings? Things have just changed so much. It's just what it is. People will come to me, they'll say, oh, I just want him back. All I want is him back. I want him to know how much I love him, and I just can't stop thinking about him. But then we interacted this last week. We met up. I picked him up from a bar. We talked, and I was kind of rude to him. I was like, why would you act that way if you want him back? Well, I don't want him to know that. It's like, what? There's poker always being played, and what happens, I think, more is if you're in that holding pattern where you're broken up, but you're seeing each other still, or you still have contact with each other, the poker gets a little bit deeper. Or you're at the end of a break, you're at a part of your relationship where you kind of suspect someone of fucking around, or you might be breaking up, the poker gets deeper. Because people are going, this isn't how the relationship was. Things have changed. Manipulation comes in, and you go, I don't like how this is going, and everything changes. Honesty gets thrown out the window a lot of times, and you tend to play these games. So I do have one story on deck today, not two. If you have a story you want to share, go to writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story in, and I could give you my take in a live show like this. I'm just gonna let the music drop. And if you want to book a live coaching session, go to writemac.com also. So we will have a guest on later on after I get done with the story. We'll get into that. He's a California native, mid-30s, has a little perspective on breakups, relationships, and whatnot. And I thought, why not have him on later on? So we have an extra set of eyes and ears. But we'll get into the story right now. Hello, Coach. I broke up with my ex about 1 year ago. We saw each other during the COVID lockdown as our breakup happened right when it started. I couldn't help but want to be there for her. She broke up with me, but it was something that I wanted to happen. I'd been telling a few people close to me that I needed to break up with her. Looking back, I had been saying this for years. We had a good connection. She's highly intelligent, loyal as can be, and loved me a lot. Sounds like a lot of good things to break up with someone. It was just that I didn't see us growing much more. I've actually heard this line before. And yeah, as a couple, you should be growing together, but you have to take a look in the mirror and say, why weren't you just growing on your own? Did you need her to grow more? But on the flip side, is the person she is right now opposites to the direction you're going in, or really not even on the same playing field? If that's the case, then I can understand that. But she fell into playing on her phone a lot and watching Netflix for long stretches every evening. She's now 41 and I'm 37. I just felt like I want kids. I want to grow my career, which is the opposite of her. Plus, she drinks a little bit more than I like, and I could see it being a long-term thing. Well, I mean, doesn't say how long you're together yet. So here's where you just start building a case of why you broke up with someone. You build a case in your head. On the one end, you say you got someone highly intelligent, loyal, and loves you a lot, which a lot of guys would die for. I mean, the amount of guys that settle for she's cute or good looking and that's it. For you to get someone intelligent, loyal, and loves you a lot and have a good connection with, and you just say she's not helping you grow enough. It seems like someone that would be connected in that way would be able to help you grow. Maybe you got to look at yourself in the mirror a little bit and ask yourself, am I being honest with myself, or am I just using this as an excuse for myself being a little lazy? But let's get into it a little deeper. We've been together for over 6 years. I just couldn't see things growing the way I wanted them to. You said this twice now. So when she broke up with me, which I honestly think was a power play to get my attention. I mean, I think she threw it out there. I think she threw it out there trying to get my attention. I didn't bite and accepted it. So we then went through with it. But on my end, it wasn't really that difficult because we stayed in contact, still hooked up, and talked a lot. Looking back, I didn't think much of it. Well, of course you didn't. You didn't lose a lot, right? You broke up. You get your freedom. You still get a hookup. You're still connected. You still think you have the option to buy whenever you want it. And so basically what you're saying is you didn't really break up. You got everything most guys would want out of a breakup with a highly intelligent, loyal woman that loves you a lot. The unfortunate thing is the hammer's going to drop at some point, and she's going to go, actually, I'm pretty intelligent. I'm loyal, and I love my boyfriends a lot. I think I can get another one, and that's probably what's going to happen. I was actively dating some other women and some good ones, but I believe I don't really want to get into a long-term relationship after this one. Not never again. Just don't want to dive into anything. Well, I'd say if you've been in a 6-year relationship, you're 37, I would definitely say that take your time and enjoy being single for a little while. And if something really pushes your buttons or tickles your pickle, then go for it, right? To be honest, I actually hurt a couple women that were really interested in getting into something long-term. I didn't hurt them on purpose. They just wanted more once we slept together. I just had no interest. And once they pressed a bit, I really lost interest in them. Well, this kind of gets lost in when you have multiple women you're dating. And the idea of spinning plates, that there's actually some feelings that might get hurt, and you're going to have to deal with that. That being said, it's better to be honest and upfront right off the bat than to carry it out and continue to lead them on. I think if you're in your late 30s, like you said, and you've been in a few rodeos, if you're really interested in a woman long-term in the first month, 2 months. So that's just you knowing who you are. In the meantime, there's some individuals that are highly sensitive when they date, right? They catch feelings within the first week, and that's not your fault always. What would be worse is for you to get entangled with one of these individuals and deal with, crying monthly and trying to fix their wounds and whatnot. Treat it like a Band-Aid that you just ripped off. Just be honest and upfront from the get-go. So, I didn't hurt them on purpose. They just wanted more once we slept together. I just feel like at this point in my life, I know I'm interested. I know what I'm interested in. I still had strong feelings for my ex-girlfriend. So there you go. So right there, you're admitting that you still had strong feelings for your ex-girlfriend, but you have no consequences, right? You have no consequences because she hasn't pulled no contact on you. And that's when it's going to get real. And that's the power of no contact. That's the power of someone just flipping the switch and ghosting you. Because if she does that, all of a sudden you're going to go, wait. We broke up. I was cool with that. I could see other people. I could see you. But I wasn't expecting you to just go lights out. Now, looking back, I was always still connected to my ex in safe and comfortable sort of way. We'd still go on dates, talk like we were together, but I felt like I still had my singledom. I don't even know if that's a word, but it makes sense. Then about a month ago, something changed. She was more short with me. She cut calls short, and if I was over, she'd put everything in her frame and act like she didn't really have time for me. Yeah, the tables have turned. And when you feel like the tables turned, it's a sharp turn because you kind of like, what the fuck just happened? Wait. I thought we were on the same playing field. No. There's always someone in the relationship that cares less. There's always someone in the relationship that runs the show a little bit more. Think about your job. There's always a boss, right? But even if you look at, like, if you work with 5 colleagues, right, you all are different. You all have a little bit different power within the group. It's kind of true, right? Someone has a little bit better relationship with the boss. Someone had 7 years and you have 4 years. There's people, this idea of everything being equal, good luck. Good luck. I'm not saying that it's not right to strive for fairness as much as you can. But the idea, like in relationships, it's a teeter-totter. And it's always going back and forth. And if you've been running the show for a while and it gets flipped, it's like a hurricane just hits your mind. You're just like, what? Wait a minute. And then you overcompensate. And then when you overcompensate, the person goes, wow, you're really unattractive. It happens a lot. And so, getting back to the story here, then about a year ago, something changed. She was more short with me. She just cut calls short. Okay, we had that. Then I asked her to go to, okay, so here he goes. She'd put everything in her frame and act like she didn't really have time for me. Then I asked her out to go to our favorite dinner spot. She said she wasn't sure she'd get back to me and never did. Well, writing's on the wall, my friend. That's not just tables have turned. That is, I don't have any interest. Translation, I might be seeing someone else. Translation, I think we're done, but it's cute that you still want to put in some effort. Suddenly, I started to want her back. Yes, this is almost 1 year later. I was surprised. I'm thinking I never really fully broke up with her and went through this. I'm pretty sure she's seeing someone else, but as you say, I don't want to know. Please read that again. If you wrote the story, you don't want to know at all because you said already you still have feelings for her. You were together for 6 years. It's not going to be nice if you see this guy and her out together. So about 2 weeks ago, I stopped texting and calling her, and she did the same. There was no formal announcement. Her last message was actually saying good morning and wishing me a good day. So that's kind of interesting. It's actually a good, even though you guys didn't announce or you didn't, the fact that you ended in a way 2 weeks ago that was clean or nice or on a good note, if there is going to be a door open in the future, it would be because of this. You didn't, even though you felt like, hey, I still want to go out with her, hey, I still want to do this, you didn't go over the top. You sensed that she wasn't interested, you asked her out, and then you backed off. That's actually very clean. Because if you would have continued to contact her, continued to try to get pity or overcompensate, if you ever were going to hook up with this woman again, it would be less and less of a chance. So the fact that it ended that way 2 weeks ago is a solid thing. Whether you meet up again, whether you ever get back together again or not, leave it alone. Just leave it alone. And if she has thoughts about you or she misses you, she won't have any ill thoughts of that last encounter because it was good. You know, I responded, we haven't spoken since 2 weeks ago. I'm really feeling like we are done. It's like reality set in. Well, I mean, never say never. If you guys were together that long and you were in contact for the full year, I think right now it's not going to happen anytime soon. I think that she just suddenly, you know, like I said, there's a good chance she's seeing someone else. It's been a year. And the fact that you believe like you're the only one that's been dating, women are very clever at keeping secrets more than men. And men assume like, oh, she would never do that more. They kind of like, this is my girlfriend. This is like, she wouldn't be seeing someone else, but I've been seeing multiple women. So, ha 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 ha. I could try to ask her for I could try to ask her for a date, but I catch myself thinking, what for? You've had a year that she was open to getting back together and you didn't do it. Well, as the great R. Kelly says, when a woman's fed up, go look the song up. It happens, my friend. There's a window on everything in life, actually, if you really think about it. There's a window on you getting a good job. There's a window on, I think that I look back at my own life and there's been investments to be made, crypto, Bitcoin. There's a window, right? Someone told you, someone gave you advice, the window closes and you're like, damn, that would have been a great move. Hindsight's 20/20, right? You can connect the dots everywhere. So you mentioned in some videos, I journaled it out and came to the conclusion that she's just not what I want long term, but I really miss. Well, good for you journaling it out. Write it out, write some good questions, answer your own questions. But I really miss the comfort of having, so he says, she's just not what I want long term, but I really miss the comfort of having someone I know so well, I just miss her. I've also never entertained her being with someone else. Well, there you go. Your ego got in the way of reality. You were with this woman for 6 years. You say you had a good connection. She's highly intelligent. She's loyal, and she loved you a lot. If she's capable of doing that for you, guess what? She might be able to attract another guy with those kind of attributes. She was so loyal even during this 1 year breakup. Now I'm at a point where I find myself just really missing her and wanting to reach out. I even thought about sending a letter telling her how much I appreciate what we had and how good she was to me. Again, I got this from you. Well, thanks for watching the channel and taking some notes, dude. I asked myself, what's my intentions? Very good question. You can come back to that question again and again in your life when you're at a decision fork in the road. What's my real intentions here? And be honest with yourself. The first answer is the correct answer, by the way. Right? So this isn't, I asked myself, what are my intentions in doing this? And honestly, I don't want her as my long-term girlfriend, but I'd love to hook up with her till I meet someone solid, or if she could just keep things the way they are. Sounds good on paper for you, right? It sounds good for you, but here's where writing that out and getting to your intentions is good. Like when you read that to yourself, you're like, yeah, that's not realistic. Or even if it was realistic, it's going to have an expiration date. It's not going to be there forever, right? And then, by the way, what's your intention? Like, oh, you're going to meet someone because you're dating, and then you're going to catch and release on her. Then whatever good tidings you guys had in your breakup, they're all going to be dust. So you're right. Just keep the, my intentions suck, I know. So I held off on the letter. Here's the other thing. I'm seeing another woman that's great. She treats me great, is loyal, kind, and just would do anything for me. Well, that's a hell of a statement. She's cute, but not exactly what I would like. But I can feel her growing on me. But sometimes when I'm with her, I'm still thinking about my ex. Well, that's common. If you're with someone 6 years and you start dating someone new, you're going to compare and contrast. It's just common. I would say, though, this has happened to me before even. You compare and contrast, but the more you spend time with someone that's a pretty good catch, that'll dissipate a little bit. And this week I've had my ex in 3 random dreams. Each time I wake up and think we are really done. Again, this is a year later. Well, this is just your mind going, you're spun. So when someone breaks up, the biggest thing that's different is like, it's kind of the equivalent of having to go find food again. It's like if you this is a bad analogy, I suppose, but if you feed stray cats at your house, they're going to come back to your house again and again, right? I've had housemates do this, and I'm like, are you feeding the cats? No, just tell me the truth. They're here every morning scratching at my window. Yeah, I feed them a little bit. Yeah, because they need to eat, right? They're desperate for it. Now they get the food. Now they're comfortable. Now they know they can get food. If you take it away from them, they come over to the house 3 or 4 days in a row after that, desperate. And you're just like, and you got to be tough because you feel bad for them, especially if they look a little thin. You feel a little bad for him. You think to yourself, shit, should I give him some food? Right? When you go through a breakup, you're that cat. You're that cat. Right? You're the cat that comes back and goes, and your ex is going, no, I'm not going to give you any more. Sorry. I'm cutting off the Sheba. There's no more for you. And you're going, come on, please, please. What do the cats do? I don't think many of them die of starvation. They usually find a new hunting ground, right? They usually find someone else that'll feed them. Do you get where I'm going with this? It probably doesn't make you feel better, but but it's the truth. It's the truth. You're that cat. She's cute. So each time I wake up, okay, back to the dreams. I think we are really done. Again, this is a year later. Another friend told me that it seems like it overlooked the fact that, okay. By the way, having dreams about your ex when you break up is very common. I think most people have it happen. Very common. Each time I wake up and think we are really done. Another friend told me that it seems like I overlooked the fact that she might get tired of my game and lack of interest at some point. And at some point, and we'll have to, and she might be seeing someone else. We've been in, okay, and eventually she met someone else. So your friend's suggesting that she met someone else. This is one of those things where you're like, thanks, bud. Thanks for suggesting she's seeing someone else. I don't ever like to suggest that because you just don't know. Someone can peel off of you and be in an eat, pray, love mission and go to a monastery and go to other places and just be like, yeah, I'm single and they're not seeing anyone. There's the variety of things. By the way, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Cover your ears, cover your eyes, get off the social media, move on, move forward. Tell your friends, family, and colleagues to not notify you of anything new about them. If you're going all in on a breakup, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. And right now, you're just coming to the part where you're like, okay, she's not willing to do things on my terms. I'm not wanting her back long term. What's the alternative? What's the alternative? I don't like the idea of her meeting someone else. No one likes the idea of your ex meeting someone else. I know I'm not going to go back to her, but how do I cut the cravings? And we still have the cravings, and we still have some business matters where at some point we'll have to talk again. Well, you need to sew up those business matters on your terms, because you're going to get a random text, and it'll be it'll hit up. It'll be like, yeah, I paid this, or I paid this bill or that or this or that. And you're going to be like, wow, she doesn't even care about me. So put it in your frame. You be first. You be the one to go, hey, I took this out of your name, this, that, and the other. Because if she does it to you, you're going to be going, how have you been? What have you been up to? In this particular situation, from this particular story, move on. And you're seeing someone else that's pretty decent, and you've been dating, bet on yourself, dude. We've been in no contact for 2 weeks now, and I'm thinking that if we talk again, I'll go back to ground zero. I don't even think you ever hit ground zero. I want to move on and keep my balls intact. Good idea. The whole breakup has been in my frame, and this last month, she erased that. Here's the thing about frames. They change, right? To keep someone in your frame 100% of the time is difficult for an adult that you describe as intelligent. People don't like it. They catch it. And, the fact that you use the term like she erased that, you put yourself in that situation. How do I just move on and let her go? Go into no contact. Read your story that you wrote to me. What stands out to me is the fact that you don't think she'll help you grow. You want kids and marriage. She doesn't. Those are big ones. So in the next partner or this current woman that you're dating, does that line up? Get really specific on what you want in your late 30s. You've already had your time to play with the rich and famous. It's time to move forward and get a mature choice here. I still love her so much. I get these moments where I just want to call her, but intuition says don't do it. Well, in this case, intuition's not always correct, but it's usually correct. And I would say go with don't do it. Not, don't follow the Nike slogan. I don't want her back, but then I do. I think that happens to a lot of us. And a lot of that has to do with intimacy usually and loneliness. That's when it really gets hard, right? It's like when someone goes, oh, I'm just craving chocolate right now. Why? Because you're hungry? What's with this? I felt so strong for a year. Well, you felt so strong for a year because you had a life raft with her in it on your I mean, the whole time she was there for you. So you never really felt the breakup. This is new to you. Now I feel like I lost my edge. I can't even appreciate this new woman I'm seeing. You can appreciate her. You just got to just give it time. And there might be something missing from this new woman that even though she has a lot of the boxes checked off, she's just not what it is, right? She's not all what you want. Just comparing everything when in reality she's better in a lot of days. What's your take, Coach? I think I just gave it to you. So stay in no contact. Bet on yourself, keep dating, realize that if in 6 years you were able to identify that she's not the one for marriage and kids or for long-term growth yourself, if you get back together, you're actually going to take 2 steps back instead of 2 steps forward. Right? Right. All right, so I'm going to introduce B. We're going to get him on the live stream right now.
What's up?
Yeah. So what do you think about that story, B?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the desperation definitely comes into it. Yeah, it's a weird one because he wants her back, but not full term. So it's a different one than I'm used to.
Why would it be desperation?
Like he, I don't know. It's weird. I think he's feeling the loneliness sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a weird thing.
If you had to give this guy your advice directly, what would you tell him to do?
Like you said, bet on himself.
Yeah.
Like make your own improvements in your life better, and that other stuff, like it won't come into play. Like you won't worry about it as much. You won't think about her as much. So yeah, I think just investing in yourself, making your life better, and yeah, maybe finding somebody that, like you said, checks all the boxes a little bit better. Kids, the stuff that you really want, that's really important. All that stuff, I think you won't think about this girl as much at all.
What do you think's the worst thing he can do?
The worst thing he can do? Contact, for sure. Like, always like checking social media, seeing what she's doing, that kind of stuff. The desperation thing, like you said, loneliness. You are always searching for that, I guess. You feel that more, and yeah, I don't know. Like when you constantly check stuff and all those feelings come back,
I think in this particular story, what's different is that probably because of the pandemic, and I've had a couple other stories that aren't exactly like this in any way, but have some similarities. It altered some breakups, right? Where people couldn't go all in. So people are in a vulnerable place when they're in. I've had multiple people, actually just recently, because there's still places in lockdown, right?
Yeah,
there's still
absolutely.
places like, I didn't know this. And they had been broken up off and on for, I think 6 months to a year, something like that. And every time they have lockdown, he's like, you know what, maybe we should spend it together. Right? But here's the ironic thing is you're thinking like it's lockdown, I'm lonely, we can still be friends. And this one individual I'm thinking about, she was saying that she wants to get back with him. I've done some live coaching with her. The guy's a total asshole, and I don't say that often. The guy's just, the things that she describes, he's unhappy with himself, and he just takes it out on her all the time. And
yeah, that's not good.
No. Her situation is like, she's a model actually. She's a model. She's an international model. She's a good-looking woman, and he doesn't like that. Surprise, surprise.
Right.
I've never had a model as a girlfriend, but I don't know if that's everyone would be like, oh, cool, man.
Yeah, but maybe it just is
right.
too much sometimes.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
the thing is when you date a woman that's really good looking and you know it, it's like you're gonna have to deal with that, right?
You have to, absolutely.
You have to have a strong frame. You have to have boundaries, but you can't be overly jealous.
No,
And,
'cause that's a huge turnoff for
but
sure.
his problem actually isn't so much that he's jealous, because this woman actually, even though she's a model, she's pretty conservative. Well, at least that I know of her when I talk to her. And it's that I think he's embarrassed to introduce her to his family because she's a model.
Because she's a model.
Yeah, because of their
Interesting.
because of their religion.
Oh, okay. That makes
Because of their
sense.
religion.
Yeah.
And it's actually really surprising because she's Muslim, which would be surprising
Right,
for
to
an
be a
international
model,
model, right?
right.
But she wears the hijab and everything like that. And so it really bothers the guy because, that she's not in a serious career. And she likes what she does. She's proud of it. She does it in a tasteful way and whatnot. But the situation with the lockdown would be like, oh, let's spend the 2 weeks together so we're not alone, and then they just fight.
Right.
Which, if you think about it, if you are getting back together, lockdown would probably be the worst thing, right? I mean, it's counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, all right, this is a good way for us to get back together. It's a good way to hate each other
It's a
again.
good way to hate each other for sure.
Because if you have any ill interaction, you got to sit on it in the
Just
same
forced
room.
to sit there, yeah.
I mean, damn.
Yeah. There's no escape.
Yeah, like, it's like, oh, we just got in this little argument. You can't go back to your
Can't go-
apartment
yeah,
or something.
You're stuck.
And then you just go, yeah, this is why we broke up. This is why I hate you.
Yeah.
But they keep doing it because when they're in lockdown. So
Right.
it's like they just mentioned in this story, or not they, but this individual.
This guy, yeah.
And a big part of him being able to stay orbiting, or her orbiting, is that when it went down, they probably felt like, oh, this is the time to be close to people and help each other out. 'Cause I think he mentions in here that she broke up with me, but no, he didn't mention it. But a lot of people lost some of their salary, things like that.
Right.
And some people are really scared, right?
Yeah.
I've met
don't
some
know
people
what's
that,
going
they're
on.
just,
You
they're
just-
just they're just spitting out COVID facts and different
Right.
things like that,
Right.
and they're spun.
Yeah. Well, it spun a lot of people. I mean,
Right. And so, like I said, that'll affect your relationship because you want to be around people you're comfortable with when you're scared.
Sure.
Even if you're not with them anymore. And so I think some variables that kept this guy and her together, he's not realizing. But on the flip side, it was inevitable. And I've had this happen in a couple relationships before, not the same way, not the same exact way as this, not for this long period of time.
Similar.
Oh yeah, and that, and I remember a girlfriend telling me, "You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too." And I thought to myself, "Ha ha ha." I was a young chap.
Yeah.
I was a young chap in my early 20s thinking, yes, I can. And it was like within a week or 2 weeks, I remember we worked at the same shopping mall and I saw her having lunch with some other guy and it was like,
Oh, killed you.
have you ever had that happen where you saw
Yeah.
an ex-girlfriend with someone?
That first
That you
time
saw them with
that
someone?
It became real. Like, oh man. And it kills you. It kills you.
I mean, that would be
Yeah.
one show. Like, everyone's got breakups, but like to just ask, have you ever saw your ex for the first time with someone else in person? That's because now it's all social media, which hurts though.
It does.
Actually, social media might hurt more because people go back.
Yeah, because
And
you
they
can
look-
recheck it and look at it. Yeah.
and they look again.
Absolutely.
They look again, and it's like
Rehashing, like, the old-
and they're like,
yeah.
actually, I've seen this person before. All right, let's check the live stream really quick here. Got Eduardo on, Quasi Angel. Good evening, Coach Mac, and all. Cheers, here to listen. Likely been intimate with them as well in that year. She kept secrets, likely dating many men in that year. Yeah, that's one of the things that's lost in this, Rob. You're right, is that if she's living in her own place and she probably knows you're seeing other people,
Yeah.
then, she might be dipping her toe in the water too. I was there at the Bitcoin window. LOL. Good for you, Rob. Do not send the scarlet letter. Yeah, that's one of those things that, like, he obviously watched some of my videos and said, like I said, what's your intention? What do you think you're going to get from that? What do you want from that? Yeah. Telling her all those things rarely ever works. Maybe in the movies it works. The only time I tell people if someone's really dug in on writing a letter, is I say, go ahead and do it. But let's just talk about the consequences.
Write it out and then wait a little bit.
Well, no, just that. What's your intention? Because they like to say, I just want to tell her so she knows. But you don't. What you evade from is your ego wants something.
Right.
What would be the ideal outcome? Is that she, oh my God,
she reads the letter and it's perfect.
Yeah. Or God, thank you so much. What if I think one of the worst ones is she reads it and says, thank you so much, I love you too, but then continues to not talk to you, see someone else. And that's like, that happens a lot where someone's like, well, she said it was nice that I said those things, but I'm like, see,
that means it's cut then.
You were reaching, right? And then you weren't being honest with yourself, and you're going for one of those covert contracts. The method doesn't reestablish the optics of attraction. It's so true, Rob. Yeah. It's counterintuitive because it's an overcompensation. And it's something like, if you think about it, when you first start dating, did you write letters? If you did, and there might be some romantics out there that's their thing. There's still some, like, I remember a friend of mine was telling me that. He's like, I'm a bit of a romantic. And this guy, you would never think he was romantic. Right. And he wasn't really good with women. That's the ironic thing. But he'd be proud to say, I'm actually a bit of a romantic. And I'm like, how's that working for you though? I wouldn't say that you can't be romantic. I just say that you should monitor why you're being romantic and what's coming of it. Sure. But going back to the letter, did you write letters when you first recording the individual?
No.
Probably not, right? If anything, a letter while you're in a long-term relationship, maybe conveying some feelings where you guys couldn't have a good conversation, that might hold more weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
But post-breakup, a year later,
it just seems desperate to me. I don't know.
And or like I said, it could be well received. Sure. Like you said some nice things, but it's not going to change the course of the ship.
Right.
And if anything, it'll just make her feel like, oh, now I have you on the line.
I'm in control here.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you're on the stringer on the side of the boat struggling.
Yeah. Where it was totally the opposite, before.
There's a thin line between love and hate, and there's a thin line between the frame. Alpha feeds the stray cats. Aleph feeds the stray cats, Chuckster says. Good point.
That is on point, actually.
There's plenty of friskies to go around of those strays. Most people do not know how to bet on themselves or are capable in reality.
True, but that's a big step, though.
It is.
It's a huge step.
It is.
Realizing that, just try to make improvements in your own life and go from there.
Well, I think we all forget where we were before we met whoever we're chasing.
Especially in like a long-term, situation like that, 6 years plus,
whatever. We just lose track that, we were actually capable of meeting someone else before this.
You totally forget that. Absolutely.
Right. The guy wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants his cake plus other girls and wants to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a hog. Benefit of online date meet apps versus real meeting is that men who don't vibe with how you speak will unmatch rather than test you for multiple years first. Yeah. I guess so. I mean, dating apps and those things, there's a lot of people that are against them. I think it's one of those things. I don't think there's a big alternative to using them if you don't live in a city where you interact or you're not in a lot of groups. Yeah. There's a way to counter not using dating apps. But if you're an individual that doesn't get out of the house a lot or has a job that you're, then they're highly useful.
Yeah, it could serve its purpose for that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the best things with dating apps is if you have one guy that actually called into the show, I think like within the last year, he was in New York. He just developed a routine, and he just said, I'd meet for a drink at a similar restaurant at 5 or 6 o'clock. I would go into it, whatever. Like it might not work, and then he just, turned him and burned him. And then he ended up meeting someone. But in the fray, he did meet one woman that he fell for. They were together for like 8 or 9 months, and she hurt him bad because prior to that, and I've talked about this before, is if you were in a really good relationship, breakup, or the relationship went bad, and you get into a new relationship post-breakup from a long-term relationship, hope that wasn't too confusing, and someone breaks up with you in like 10 months, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not how long-term shit works.
Yeah, wait, I'm expecting the long-term thing.
Yeah, like, wait a minute. You're not playing by the rules. I just conveyed my love to you.
Yeah.
So things change really, really quick. Quasi Angel, Eduardo, Chuckster, do you guys have any questions moving forward? Turned them and burned them. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be, I think that in these next few years, the more people I talk to, and like I said, not being negative or anything like that, just being real, there's going to be a lot of breakups. Quasi Angel, I'm excellent. B, how you doing?
Good.
Living large and in charge.
Living large and in charge.
Yep. Yeah, there's gonna be more than ever before. And I was just telling someone this recently, and I said it in this story. I think a big part of it is everyone wants to be treated better. So what do I mean by that? It's like, I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to be the lower. I don't want to be the one I either want equal or I want more.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of long-term relationships, like if you look at our grandparents, I don't know what we have all different generations on YouTube, you know what I mean? But like there's always someone that gets a little bit more, that rules the relationship a little bit more.
It's never 50-50.
Yeah. I just don't. No. You could be 50-50 on how you raise kids.
Right.
You could be 50-50 on finances. A lot of times you're not.
Right.
And I think right now a lot of people are in this thing where they're like, you did that to me? I want this. You want like people, it's not just equal, it's like I want more. And I think that in a long-term relationship, someone's got to sacrifice more. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And it might be the guy. And that's why we have these huge amount of red pill stuff. And I'm not against it. I get where these guys are coming from. And there's great points to be made in that stuff. Great points to be made. Treating it as like, that you have to live by a code. I like flexibility to maneuver.
Yeah, you're not
and make my own choices.
Right.
So I don't want to identify with something like that. But
there's good points to be made though. For
absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely. And everyone takes it to their own level. But guess what? Everyone wants more, right?
Everyone wants more.
The red pill thing's like guys should have more. Guys should be treated better.
Right. Which can definitely help some guys out.
Feminist movements, correct me if I'm wrong, we should have more.
We should have more, yeah.
And so if you see relationships where people have been together a long, long time, someone sacrificed. Someone took less. Someone's doing the dirty work. Someone's doing this. And then probably really good relationships is people take their roles and and they
run with it.
Yeah. But I think right now, Rob, I don't think red pill is always about more. I don't think it's always about more. But it's definitely not about being equal, right? I mean,
from what I've seen, no.
Yeah. It's about Rob says it's about knowing the truth of the dynamics that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Of what you mean, the dynamics of attraction? Here's what counters that though, Rob, in my experience. Okay? So here's what's interesting about, and by the way, I'm not a red pill expert.
Me either.
So I'm not a doctor, so I don't prescribe drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not like someone like yourself that watches a lot of it. You could throw red pill darts at me all day, and I'd be going, okay, you got me. My point is, So he says, well, yeah, dynamics of attraction, how things play out and why they play out and the way it is. What's different? I don't take any pill, Chuckster. What's different, I think, is that I've talked to some women before, and they have their own little movements.
Mm-hmm. So it's always this game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
always this
yeah.
back
There's
and
just
forth kind of play.
I always remember this one woman that was like late 20s. I believe she was like a corporate lawyer or something like that. I don't usually like to tell what people's jobs are because I don't want to connect too many dots. Attractive, confident, you know.
Yeah.
And she was, and the cool thing about her too is she was dating multiple guys, like not in a hoe way,
Right.
like
She was just
comfortable with their sexuality,
sure.
kind of a thing, right? And so when we were talking, she had met her match where this guy like kind of threw her off and basically had become mysterious, wasn't calling her a lot, kind of cut her off, but they had hooked up multiple times and it was really good. She thought he liked, and she was just confused. But she was stuck on him. I'm like, well, basically this is kind of attraction 101.
Exactly.
Like you got a cliffhanger in the sense that like you can't put this guy together, so it makes you more attracted to him.
Right.
She's like, really? She's like, because that's what a few of the books taught me to do.
Exactly.
As it like, she's like,
Right.
I thought that's what I should be doing to guys.
And it
So,
was working for her, you know.
And I never thought about that before. I don't know which book she was referencing, but in other words, so she was feeling that way. And by the way, I think that if this guy would have folded and been everything that she wanted,
Right.
she would have lost attraction for him,
Right.
Rob.
It's that scarcity.
Yeah, it's the
mindset.
scarcity. Yeah, it was the total scarcity. He was indifferent.
Yep.
He could give a shit.
Right. Which is totally not what she was used to.
Oh yeah.
So
One of the biggest things that drove her nuts, I'll never forgive this, is she bought him a gift, and it was like I think I might have told you this before, like a little aquarium with plants in it or something. And he was like, oh, thanks. And she was shocked because she thought it was such a clever and cool gift. She thought it was like really cool.
Yeah.
And he was indifferent, and he left it at her house. like
Right,
really
right.
didn't care.
Yeah.
And it was like, to her, she doesn't get guys a lot of gifts. She thought it was really sweet.
So this was something. out of the
Yeah, and
ordinary.
he could care less.
Right, right.
And he left it at her house. And then when she contacted him and says, like, hey, you left it here. He's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll pick it up later. That really pissed her off. Because he wasn't like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot it. And by the way, there was no sorries or anything like that.
No.
It ate her,
Right.
right? And it's funny how little things like that can eat you when
'Cause-
you're seeing someone.
And most guys, or a lot of guys she's probably with, would totally be the opposite way on that. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry's a
Yeah,
big one.
It's a huge
You
thing.
don't have to say sorry.
Right, right.
It's actually highly unattractive.
Right.
Unless if you're in a real relationship or you really did something
Or you
bad
really,
to hurt
you
someone.
really mean it, yeah.
Oh man. But
But this sorry mindset of just, always trying to
She
please,
couldn't-
it's just no.
she was really upset. She was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, I mean, he might not have thought the gift was that great.
Maybe, yeah.
And yeah, but you still appreciate it. You still like say thank you. You still take it home. And I'm like,
All right.
but here's the crazy thing. The more she'd get upset about it, it's like she still was wrapped up and attracted to him, right?
Right.
So it's kind of funny how that works, though. But she was, I mean, what about this, Rob? Is there women following female red pill tactics on the opposite end? And here's the crazy thing. There are some guys out there that like to be kept men that don't mind being a doormat.
Sure.
Or they don't know that
don't know,
they just go, that's how it is, man.
Right.
That's how relationships are.
Right.
And you're watching and you're like, wow, dude, like this is bad.
They don't know their game's being played.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's not even a game. It's just like a long-term marriage where the guy just goes, I'm done. I'm defeated.
Right.
And it seems to be worse. if a man has, and I could be wrong on this because this is a generalized statement that I don't know. I've just observed this more than once. If there's multiple daughters, and then the daughters are teenagers.
Oh wow, yeah.
And they're grown. I've seen this before.
Just
I remember
wears them down.
Maybe I'm just thinking of this one situation in particular where basically
you've got like 3 or 4 women.
Yeah,
and it just wears.
And the guy's just like, okay, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
The husband and dad's just like, fine. And like the daughters take up battering the dad because that's what the mom does.
So, yeah, and it's so easy because he's done.
Yeah, we're not gonna go eat there. Just be quiet, Dad. Just okay, all right. Hey, let me just take out the wallet. All right, cool. Yes, there are women following certain taxes, but they aren't called red pill for the female the most part. What are they called? There are definitely women using certain tactics. Check your Rob. Right.
They're probably similar tactics too. I'm sure.
I mean, before these things had names, they were always there, right?
Right.
I mean,
now they're categorized, and yeah.
I suppose the best way to really play psychologist is really take a deep dive whenever you meet someone on their family and their parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That could be a future telling of what's coming. All right, we got 12 on deck, 1 like. I guess it's not a great show today to get 1 like out of 12 people, but that's okay. I got thick skin. I got about 15 minutes. Not sure what they are called yet, but there are plenty of books, YouTube channels that cater to women's side of attraction and what to do. I am like number 2. What does that mean, I'm like number 2?
Yeah, because the red pill phenomenon is just crazy.
I'm pretty sure mine was like number 2. What is number 2? What am I missing here? Oh, okay. 3 likes. So for the likes, I'm like number 2. I'm like, I'm like number 2. I don't understand that. Trying to read too much into it. Lime counter broken. But yeah, these situations where people broke up during COVID and then now really broke up, I think this is going to be more common because the dynamics of the relationship changed quite a bit then. And I think some people, you're not going to break up during bad times too, right?
Because you're scared. You don't know what's
I
going
mean,
on.
if there's financials, which is like you shouldn't, it's reality.
It just, that's reality.
It's reality, right? Shit. All right, folks, I think we're going to call it a show today. We'll have some more stories coming. I got some more videos breaking. Is there a topic, Robster, Chuckster, Quasi Angel, you guys have that you'd like to have me unpack in the next couple of days? What about you, B? Is there a topic that you think needs to be covered?
Like in this story, originally what he said was she was on the phone a lot and Netflixing a lot. I think that's a cool topic to talk about.
If your girlfriend's on Netflix or one of those things, here's the thing, dude. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know either.
Because it's
just getting more prevalent too.
Well, here's the thing. It's an addiction that's not recognized as an addiction.
Right.
Think about that. That's how alcohol started, right? Like 1950s, no one going, I'm an alcoholic.
No.
Hi, my name's Todd, and I'm an alcoholic. No one had those fucking meetings till, it took 50 years. No one's like, if you confront your girlfriend and like, hey, I think you're a Instagram addict.
Yeah.
I have noticed, as I stutter, I have noticed that just in the last year, it's gotten worse. Human-wise.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're stuck inside all the time with COVID and all that stuff.
I would say that like it's gone from like 50 to 60% of people to like 80 to 90% of people are phone addicts.
But I mean, I've noticed just with myself too. I'm on it more and stuff, and I just think it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like, man. please do research for us, Coach Mac. I don't even know. I mean, I think one of the best ones was that documentary done on the.
Oh, that was really good. That was
I haven't
really well
watched
done.
it fully yet.
It was
and
really
there's
well
people that literally said they quit using their phone
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah. It goes. Are you talking the one on Netflix?
Yeah. What is it called? The Social Dilemma?
I think the social
Yeah.
dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it goes, fairly in deep on like the algorithm stuff that how they track you and stuff like that. So it's very. It's
Well, I
very
mean, if you
interesting.
think about it, right? I don't really use Facebook at all anymore. But like, if I just peek in, you can't go on for a second.
Yeah, because you're bombarded and you're just, oh wow, yeah.
And how much does it affect relationships when people can't pay attention?
Yeah. Yeah. You feel
I mean, if you
neglected,
go out,
yeah.
and I don't think it's just like, oh, so and so has a phone problem. It's kind of like, I think that the COVID has made people more like that. I've noticed.
Sure.
But there is a difference between someone that plays on their phone a lot, and then there's another one, and maybe we'll save this for the next show. But there's another one that's where someone needs to take pictures all the time.
And constantly editing and doing all this stuff. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that, what's up, Windy Dawn? I think that that's a step further.
Because you can get news and stuff on social media too, so there's different dynamics, at play.
Yeah.
But when you're taking pictures and editing all the time and doing all this stuff, it's
The news now. It seems like there's certain topics that come up that everyone has an opinion on but doesn't do anything about.
Yeah.
Think about that for a minute. Everyone has an opinion on it, but they don't do shit about it. Has anyone ever thought about that? It's like, well, you know what? And then they did this, they did that, they did this, and you're just like, I get in the middle of them too, and you're just like, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Wait. What am I gonna do about it? Yeah.
Maybe talk about the options of dating when one knows all the rules yet sees all the red flags at all times, and it becomes a barrier.
So they know. Okay.
What do you mean, Rob? Like it almost paralyzes you from dating anyone. Paralyze is a bad word.
Yeah. Stops you from.
Someone else told me this recently. That's a client of mine that he did a lot of work on just improving himself. Just so he was a nice guy. He read a lot of books, and he said he felt like now when he goes out on dates, he's seeing more stuff, but he also isn't making decisions.
Because he has all this information.
Yeah,
Right.
so he's kind of second guessing himself on making the quote unquote right move.
Right.
Where it was never unconscious for him because he was such a nice guy.
Sure.
So
Now he's just got this information.
yeah,
overload.
yeah.
It's interesting.
Rob says, yeah, paralyzes to some extent. I see that happening with some people that are so advanced on these topics. I could see that. Yeah.
They're thinking so far ahead, or yeah.
Well, no, because to be honest, I notice I find I won't use the word faults, but shortcuts to people learning people's characters just by listening to what they said, and I am statements and
how much easier it is for you.
Yeah, no, I could just go, wow, this. You don't realize how much is divulged in language.
Yeah.
And so,
How much you can unpack.
well, yeah, and you're just like,
Yeah.
ooh, ooh. And so, like, there's not a lot of people that like keep saying like, oh, I'm a positive person, or I'm this, or I'm that. So what do you do when you run into your ex's boyfriend with whom she cheated with? I hope I did the right thing by not popping his head like a zit. Well, Chuckster,
Every situation's different, but yeah.
go watch Silver Linings Playbook a few times with Bradley Cooper. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah,
Great movie.
a long time ago. But
Great
yeah,
movie.
That was a great movie.
Great movie. I think that applies to that one. Man, I've never experienced that. I haven't experienced that, but that would hurt. I mean, it would hurt. Thanks, Chuckster. $15 for lunch. And feed the stray cats for the day. Good idea, bud.
They're covered.
Yeah. The interesting thing about someone will do this. Oh yeah, if I saw my ex with another guy, I would pop him, or I wouldn't care. I don't give a shit. It's like, nah, dude, it would hurt you.
It would hurt.
Come
for
on,
sure.
come on, come on, man. Like, Doesn't mean you need to act on any of that stuff, but
But the feelings are gonna be there for sure.
that being said, there's friends of mine that are pretty tough characters that are able to be that way with people to like cut them off.
I mean, emotionally, just
Yeah, they're you know, they're like that, and I could see them being able to do that. But deep down, who knows what they're feeling inside?
That's just the projection.
It could be a
or whatever.
persona, yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. I mean, if you see something up close and personal, so let's see here. I like what Rob said though. That's an interesting topic, Rob. That you can see all the red, because I mean, I preach a lot of times it's going to take time to find a match. Corey Wayne talks about that too. Like, you don't meet people that are a really good match often. And
So it's going to take some
yeah,
time.
well, it's not just going to take some time, but like, yeah, you need to jump on those situations. No pun intended. But the like, when you start to learn everything, it's like ignorance is bliss.
Right. Exactly.
Right, and you're like, oh shit, she's got daddy issues. Oh shit, she's got, people throw these things around.
Now you're analyzing everything.
Yeah,
and it's
whereas when you first date, you're like, oh shit, she doesn't get along with her dad.
And it's just a normal.
Oh wow, her dad was a bad alcoholic and she never talks to him. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with me, right?
Right.
It's like if you read enough psychology and everything, you're like, oh shit, I'm next.
Yeah.
What do you want to run into your ex-boyfriend? Okay, so yeah, second guessing everything when you know how all these dynamics play out. You really notice the flaws and then reconsider moving forward with that person. If that's a reoccurring thing, then a person may be stuck in a cycle. What's up, Johanna? Did you get able to Samuelson? I didn't know you were in Sweden. Were you able to book a session? You said you had issues with that. Yeah, seeing the reoccurring stuff. I guess it was a lot more fun when you just went cute, hot.
Yeah. A lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I like her, but you know, she's got depression, anxiety, and bipolar. Those are like common ones. People come. I'm like, wow, really? Did you know that when you first started dating? Yeah, I thought I could help her. It's like, really?
Wow, that's
It's a lot to take
that's
on.
a lot.
It's a lot to take on. It would be nice to just to hear if people came up with their old relationships when you went, oh, this person was like a total train wreck. Or I can't get over the fact when bad stuff happens in the beginning of relationships and people carry
Continue
on.
to move forward with it.
Yeah.
You're just not seeing it. Like, what?
I think I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again probably. But the craziest story I ever had was I was dating this girl, and we met. This was like, I was like 20, 19, 20, maybe 19, 19 or 20, and kind of dated like. And she was coming out of a breakup with a guy. She was 19 or 20 in that range. And the guy was older, like 6-7 years older, which is not uncommon, actually.
19,
yeah, it wasn't. It's not uncommon. She had like an older boyfriend, and we worked together. And she really liked me. I mean, I don't say that in a cocky way, but like she liked me more than I liked her. And so she was pressing a bit, but like, so we went out, and I remember she went for a walk at the park or something. I don't know what it was. And then she called me later on. And she's like, "Oh, did Jose say something to you?" I'm like, "What? Who?" And she's like, "Yeah, he was watching us when we were at the park." I'm like, "Excuse me?
Shit.
What?" And she was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it." And I'm like, "No,
What?
no, no, I don't want to end up in a ditch. I'm not fighting over you. Sorry, hon."
Nah.
I don't like when people are watching me on a second time I meet up with some chick and the guys
crazy.
just broke up, and you think it's kind
And
of
she's like, that's okay.
you think it's kind of like cute or neat. I just remember going, what?
Whoa.
She says, yeah, he was in his car watching us the whole time. I'm like, whoa. And then the guy like came into where I worked and just kind of loitered around for a little while. It's like, it's the one thing if it's your girlfriend and you want to be honorable and you want to be, it's another thing. Like we just started dating. He's like, yeah, no worries, man. Wasn't that interested anyways.
Just checking up on her. Making sure she's with a good guy. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, Johanna's got a YouTube channel too? Oh, wow. I don't know if I should do videos in English. Do whatever you like, Johanna. It's your channel. Be you. You don't need it. I know that Swedish people speak extremely good English. Actually, Johanna, where I live in Phuket, Thailand, there's a lot of Swedish people. We actually have a Swedish bakery right down the street.
Yep.
All right, folks, I'm going to close it out. It's been good. It's been grand. It's curtains. B, thanks for joining today.
Not a problem.
It's been a pleasure. Johanna, if you want to book that session, go for it. If you don't, that's fine too. Good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. Rob, it's always a pleasure. Guardian at the gate. Quasi Angel, be an angel. And Eduardo Martinez, Windy Dawn. It's all good. Curtains.